Have you ever had a song you just heard, like, for the first time and it gets instantly stuck in your head?
Oh, all the time.
Or maybe you're listening to something really complex, but your foot just starts tapping along and you don't even have to think about it.
Right.
Well, that is not a coincidence. It's because music isn't just random noise. It's actually a series of really carefully organized patterns that your brain is just wired to look for.
That's it right there. I mean, that's the core of it. These patterns are the roadmap for all music.
Mhm.
They give it a sense of order, predictability, so we don't just get overwhelmed by all the sound.
Okay.
And if you can start to recognize these patterns, you're already taking the first big step to becoming a better musician or even just a more engaged listener.
And I guess that's also what makes a tune so memorable, right? The pattern holds it all together in your mind.
It's the entire scaffolding.
So our mission today is to unpack these patterns from the tiniest little beat to the whole blueprint of a song and see how they show up in basically every single genre you listen to.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation. We have to start here. Rhythm. If music were a house, this is the concrete slab it's built on.
Right. Rhythm is just the pattern of how long sounds last, and just as important, the silences between them.
Huh.
It's all about timing.
It's like a musical heartbeat. It has to be steady.
Exactly. And most popular music you hear on the radio, pop, hip-hop, rock, the most common pattern is 4 beats in a measure. We call it 4/4 time.
So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over.
That's the one. And that predictable cycle is the whole structure.
Yeah.
But, and here's where it gets cool, you can divide those beats into smaller parts.
I always think of it like a pizza. The measure is the whole pizza, and the 4 beats are 4 big slices.
That's a great way to put it.
Hmm.
And you can slice those slices even smaller. You can play twice as fast on what we call eighth notes, or even 4 times as fast on 16th notes.
But it always connects back to that original pulse of 4.
It has to. A drummer's job is basically to play with those smaller, complex divisions while keeping that main pulse rock solid.
And what's cool is you can practice this right now without any instrument. Just, tap your foot or clap your hands to a song. If you can find that steady pulse, you're feeling the pattern.
And for musicians reading music, notation is just a way to see those rhythmic patterns on a page. It turns that invisible feeling of time into a visible map for everyone to follow.
Okay, so rhythm is the heartbeat.
Now let's talk about the face of the song, the melody. That's the sequence of notes that you actually hum along to.
The memorable part.
Right. And what makes melodies so sticky is a pattern we call a sequence.
So what exactly is a sequence?
It's super simple but so effective. It's when you take a short musical phrase, just a few notes, and then you repeat it immediately, but starting on a higher or lower pitch.
Like a little echo that's climbing up a set of stairs.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And that exact repetition is why a pop chorus is so catchy. Your brain hears the first phrase, and the second time it comes around, even if it's higher, it just goes, oh, I know this. It's that recognition.
But wait, if everything just repeats, wouldn't that get boring?
That's the trick, isn't it? It's about balancing repetition with surprise. A composer can take that repeating 4-note phrase and just change one single note.
Ah, I see.
And that one tiny change can completely shift the emotion. It grabs your attention and keeps it from feeling stale.
So it's the familiarity that pulls you in, but the tiny little variation that keeps you hooked. Now, you mentioned moving between notes. How do we measure that distance?
We use something called intervals. An interval is just the distance between any 2 notes. And these interval patterns are what give music its emotional color.
So like a big jump might sound dramatic and a small step might sound calmer.
You've got it. Composers use them to make things sound happy or sad or, mysterious.
And in music theory, we measure these with half steps and whole steps. A half step is the smallest possible distance, like going from one piano key to the very next one. A whole step is just 2 of those.
And when you arrange a specific pattern of those whole and half steps, you create a musical scale.
So the scale is the big pattern that gives you all the ingredients for the song.
Exactly. The major scale, the one that sounds happy, has a very specific pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Use that pattern and you get a bright sound. Change the pattern and you get a minor scale, and suddenly everything sounds more serious or sad.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So if scales give us the single notes, what happens when we play notes at the same time?
That brings us to harmony. Harmony is when you play 2 or more notes at the exact same time. We usually call them chords.
And the pattern of moving from one chord to the next, that's a chord progression, right?
Yes, and that is maybe the most powerful pattern in all of Western music.
Chord progressions are like the engine of the song. They create that feeling of tension and release that pushes the music forward.
Right. Your brain feels that tension when the chords are moving, and then it feels this sense of satisfaction when the progression finally resolves to a restful chord. It's all about anticipation.
And a classic example of that is the 12-bar blues, right? You hear it everywhere.
Absolutely. It's just a repeating pattern of three specific chords. It's basically the foundation for so much American music, jazz, rock and roll, everything.
And what's so wild is that once you learn that one simple harmonic pattern, you suddenly realize you can play hundreds, maybe thousands of different songs.
It's the same skeleton under all of them. And today, you have the four chords of pop. It's this one specific progression that you hear in so many hits on the radio or on TikTok. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
It's amazing. It shows that genius isn't always inventing a new pattern, but just finding a really creative new way to use an old one.
But it's not just which notes you play. It's also about how you play them.
Okay, so you mean things like volume.
Exactly. We call that dynamics. It's the pattern of loud and soft. A composer might use a crescendo, which is a pattern of gradually getting louder, to build excitement,
Yeah, you hear that all the time in movie scores, right before something big is about to happen.
or in an EDM track before the drop. It's a pattern designed to manipulate your emotions.
Then there's also articulation.
Articulation is about how you attack the notes. Are they short and choppy? We call that staccato. Or are they long and smoothly connected, which is legato?
And those patterns help define a genre. A punk rock guitar riff is almost always staccato, really punchy.
Whereas a classical violin melody is usually very smooth and legato. The pattern of the attack is a huge part of the music's energy and style.
Okay, so we've covered the small patterns. Let's zoom out. What about the pattern of the whole song? The big picture.
That's musical form or structure, the large-scale roadmap, and the most common one you hear today is the verse-chorus structure.
Right. verse, chorus, then usually a bridge, and then one last chorus.
And the whole point of that structure is to balance new stuff with familiar stuff. The verse tells a story, it gives you new lyrics.
And the chorus is the big, repeatable hook, the pattern you already know and can sing along to.
Exactly. And then you have the bridge, which is a pattern of contrast. It breaks away with different chords or a different feel just for a moment.
Before it brings you back home to that final, super satisfying chorus.
That return is what feels so good. Another really common one, especially in older music, is the AAPA form. You have one musical idea, A, you repeat it, then a contrasting idea, B, and then you come back to A one last time. It gives a great sense of closure.
Speaking of structure, what about call and response? That feels like a conversation.
It is a musical conversation.
Yeah.
One person plays a phrase, the call, and another person or a group immediately answers with another phrase, the response.
You hear that a lot in gospel music or in live concerts where the singer shouts something and the crowd shouts it back.
For sure. It actually comes from a lot of folk traditions, especially in West Africa, and became a huge part of blues, jazz, and rock. It really highlights the social, communal part of making music.
Okay, now this is where it gets really, really interesting for me. The connection between music and math.
It's a deep one, and it's ancient. When you really look at it, rhythm is just fractions. A whole note is one. A half note is one half. A quarter note is one quarter.
You're literally organizing time with math. But it goes deeper than that, right? Into pitch.
Oh, absolutely. The pitch of a note is determined by the frequency of its sound wave, which is pure physics. And when you have a note vibrating at, say, 440 times per second,
Okay.
and you play another note that vibrates at exactly double that 880, you've created a pattern called an octave.
And it sounds like the same note, just higher.
Because that 2-to-1 ratio is a hidden mathematical pattern our brains find really stable and pleasing. It provides a sense of natural proportion.
But not every culture organizes these patterns in the same way, do they?
Not at all. Western music usually sticks to simple groups of 2, 3, or 4 beats. But in traditional Indian music, they use these incredibly complex rhythmic cycles called talas. A tala could be, 10 beats long or 16 or even something weird like 7.5.
Wow.
And a lot of African music features polyrhythms. That's where you have multiple different rhythms all happening at the same time, weaving in and out of each other.
Like the drummer's playing in 3, but the bass player's in 4.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It creates this amazing, dense, energetic texture. It just shows you how flexible music can be.
So how has technology changed the way we use patterns?
Technology has completely embraced patterns. I mean, electronic music is built almost entirely on programming them. Producers use software to create loops.
A loop is just a digital pattern that plays over and over again, right?
It can be a drum beat, a bass line, anything. A producer will create a bunch of different loops and then just layer them on top of each other.
Hmm.
In the software, you can actually see the patterns as these little colored blocks on a grid.
So it makes the structure visual. You can see the repetition.
It makes it incredibly easy to see and rearrange the patterns you're hearing. You don't even have to play an instrument perfectly anymore. You just need to be good at arranging and tweaking digital patterns.
Right, okay, so let's bring this all back to someone who's learning to play music. How does understanding all this actually help them get better?
It's everything. Think about scales and arpeggios. Those are just the most basic patterns for warming up.
They can feel so boring sometimes.
I know, but practicing those simple, predictable patterns every day builds muscle memory. You're teaching your fingers where to go without thinking.
So when you're faced with a really hard piece of music, what's the best approach?
Don't try to learn the whole thing at once. Break it down into the smallest possible patterns. Learn one little rhythmic chunk or one melodic sequence or the chord progression for one section.
And then piece them together like building blocks.
Exactly. Memorizing the small, repeatable structures makes the whole thing so much easier to manage. Patterns are the key to unlocking your potential.
I think that's the big takeaway here. Every song you love, from the simplest pop hit to a huge orchestral piece, is built on these simple, repeatable structures.
And understanding them really changes how you listen. You go from just hearing the music to understanding how it works.
So next time you put on your favorite song, try to find that 4-beat pattern. See how many layers of repetition you can actually hear.
Good luck spotting those patterns.